top stitching. Let's quickly just take a look at what a regular stitch looks like. My machine has a 2.5 millimeter normal straight stitch. I usually like to lengthen that for top stitching a little bit, so I'm going to lengthen it to 3. And we'll just get a quick look at what that's like. Here's your regular straight stitch. And this is the kind of top stitching that I do all the time, especially on with light fabrics. Just use the regular straight stitch and lengthen it a little bit, and you'll get this kind of result, which is nice. But let's take a look at what some of the other options are. Most machines, if they have any specialty stitches, will have something that looks like this, which is a triple stitch. Let's take a look at what that looks like as another top stitching option. You can see how it does sort of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. It takes a lot longer to sew than the regular straight stitch. You can see how much bolder it is than just a regular 1 thread thing. It's 3 threads, and if you look at it really closely, it almost, you can feel it. It's raised up a little bit, and you can sort of see how there's a triple stitch that goes all the way down. While the triple stitch can look nice, it also can be a bit of a problem if you're trying to do tight corners or something. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here I am just going along, and then let's say I'm going to go do a curve like for a fly or something like that. And then I'm going to curve again. You can see it can't keep up with how fast the curve is going or how tight the curve is going. If you go very, very, very slowly, it's better. But it still isn't that great. You can see how it ends up being kind of a joggy stitch here, which isn't probably what you're looking for. So you can really see how it's a triple stitch in that case. So triple stitch is cool if you're just doing a straight shot someplace, but if you are doing curves at all, it's not the best. Let's take a look at some of the other options. Did you know that you can put more than 1 thread in your machine at a time? I just have a little bobbin here with a little extra black thread. Here's my main thread, and the thread goes through exactly, both threads go through the machine exactly the same way, come out here, and we'll see what that looks like. Again, this is a straight stitch at a 3 millimeter. And here's what that double thread top stitching looks like. It's pretty good. It's not exactly the same as the triple stitch. It's not quite as thick, but it's still thicker than the plain single stitch. It's pretty tight there. You know, it has a little texture to it. So that's a great way to get a little extra bold look for your top stitching. And now we will look at the final option. The last option is to use top stitching thread. Here's regular thread, and you can see what that looks like. And here's some top stitching thread. And it's the same color, and you can see how it's quite a bit darker and thicker than the regular thread. Let's see what it looks like when it's in the machine. If you use top stitching thread, you'll definitely need to use a top stitching needle, which has a much larger eye. You can see this is, on the top here is the top stitching needle, and this is the regular needle, and you can see how the eye is much larger. You're going to need that to accommodate the larger fabric. And here's what the top stitching thread looks like when it goes through. And here's the top stitching thread, and you can see that it's similar to the double thread example that I just did. It's a little thicker and heavier. Some machines don't love top stitching thread, and you definitely only want to put it in the top thread. You just want to have it in the top thread. You don't want to put it in the bobbin. You want to have normal thread in the bobbin. These are some top stitching options. I hope that you give them a try and see what works for you in your project. This is Diane from Falcon. Thanks for watching.